Hi there, I'm Miss Emily and welcome to Art is for Everyone Camp. We have 3 videos this week for you, and we have some exploration of mixing colors the first day. We're going to learn how to make different shades and tints of browns, try to match our skin tone to whatever color that may be. We are going to work on portraits and learning where all of the proportions are placed on our faces. And for the last day, we're going to be able to make our own painting and kind of bring all those parts together to express ourselves. I can't wait to see what you all create. Okay, well, here we are with all of our supplies for day 1. Just want to make sure everyone has what they need. So you're going to need your plate that came in your kit to be able to mix colors on. You could always use a piece of paper, a magazine page works well too. So if this fills up and you feel like you need more space, a magazine page is a great place to do that. Want to make sure that you have all of your colors. You should have your primary colors, red, yellow. We have a nice rich blue here. And then we're going to have white and black for shades, or for tints and shades, I should say. Each of you should have gotten a paintbrush in your kit, and you'll need some sort of cup with water. I'm using a recycled sour cream container, a mug, a bowl, anything is fine, as long as your parents are okay with it. And I like to put my paintbrush in the water to begin, just to kind of get the brush a little bit softer so the bristles aren't as hard. I also have a paper towel here so I can wipe the brush off, blot the water so I don't have too much water. And I'm going to need a pencil and your black permanent marker that should have come in your kit as well. We'll also be needing one of your pieces of drawing paper. You can put that to the side right now. We won't need that right this minute. So what we're gonna do is basically we're gonna just start by mixing colors. We're gonna start with red, yellow, black, and white. We won't need the blue right now. And we just are gonna kind of see what shades of brown we can come up with. So I played around with this a little bit yesterday. And if you all watch the video with the book, you'll see that the author talked about some people had a red tint to their skin, some people had more of a honey or a yellow tint. So depending on what kind of tint you have will be the colors that you want to add. I just played with this. I just added a little bit of red, I put a little bit of white, add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of black, and kind of see where I get to that point to see where I think I need to start adding some color. So I think I'm going to go for the yellow and add a little bit more yellow in there. For myself, I have more of honey tones. Some of you might have more cocoa tones. Some of you might have more chocolate tones. So depending, you're just gonna wanna kind of add those different colors. Now, black is always a paint color that you wanna use sparingly because it can quickly go from a shade of brown to looking very dark or black. So you just wanna be careful with that. We call that making a shade when we add black. So you can see this color I've mixed up here is quite dark compared to my skin. And really, if we know about skin color, we know that we all pretty much started with the same skin colors. When all the continents were together, they called that the Pangea in Africa. And as people moved away from being so close to the sun and the equator, and they moved places that were cloudy more, people's skin started to lighten up. They didn't need as much melatonin in it. So you can see here I have 2 different shades of brown. Are you able to see that? This one's pretty dark. This one's getting a little bit lighter. So I'm just playing with it, just dipping my brush in, adding some yellows here. And then we call this a tint when we add some white to it. How I usually like to do it is I usually like to add white over to the side and then add the brown to it to see what color I'm going to get. It takes a lot more white if you start adding the white to the brown. If you add the brown to the white, then you can see now I've got 3 different shades of brown. This is a very kind of a reddish tint right here. This is a much more kind of like milk chocolate, I would say. And then this one much more closely resembles my skin, which is pretty fair. So it's just a matter of just playing with all the colors. If you're a little bit darker, you could try a little bit more of the black mixed in. And if you felt like that got a little too khaki color, you could add a little bit of yellow for some yellow tones here. So it's really just a matter of just enjoying the paint and playing with it. And you can see now I've got 3 really nice shades. This one here, I'm going to say that looks awfully close to mine. It's not perfect, and I'm not expecting anyone's to be perfect, but I think I'm going to use that one to paint my arm. So go ahead and just move your paints out of the way here and get your drawing paper that you had in your kit, get a pencil, and if you'd like to put your hand down flat, we're going to draw this part of our arm here that connects with our wrist and our hand. And we're just going to either trace it, or if you'd like a little bit more of a challenge, put your hand next to the drawing paper and you can look at your hand while you draw it. You don't have to trace it. I'm going to trace it just for making things easy right now. So I've got that traced. You can see that looks a little weird because of my ring there, so I'm going to just erase that and just fill in my finger without that ring at this moment. Can you see that? A little bit hard to see because it's pencil. We will go over it with Sharpie. And then I'm going to go ahead and just take that color that I've mixed up that I feel most closely resembles mine. And maybe add just a little bit more white. And I think I might add a little bit more yellow. Trying not to mix my colors in too much. I try to just go for the same spot in the colors so that I don't mix all of that color up. If you want, you could take a little bit of each of the paints and put them on another plate or something so that you don't mix the paints up in there. I just kind of know where I'm going when I'm dipping my paintbrush over and over. Some people that might be a little bit more concerned about mixing the colors would want to rinse their brush every time, but I'm not going to do that right now. Okay, and then I'm going to just take this color, my paint for my skin tone, and I'm going to go ahead and just paint in my hand and my arm here. Make sure you have something underneath your paper. A little touch of water can help the paint to move a little bit more smoothly. So you can always add a little touch of water. You don't want to put too much water in there. I'm just adding a little bit to try to make my brown go a little further. A little touch of water here. And then I'm going to have to kind of turn my brush to get inside those fingers since that part's a little bit smaller. And fill in all those areas. How's it looking? I hope you're not getting frustrated. Like I said, just do your best. Try to use the edge to give you as clean a line as you can. My lines aren't perfect by any means. I just finished this thumb right here. And then after you have painted your whole hand, we're going to set that aside to dry. Okay, so while your arm is drying, that sounds kind of funny, doesn't it? But while your hand and arm that you painted are drying, I want you to get out the I Am From poem. It's a template, and a template just means it kind of gives you a place to be able to fill in words and ideas. It has two examples on the back, and it kind of just shows you how those two people filled in all of those spaces on the template. So this one is if you're a little bit older and up for the challenge. And if you're a younger camper and you want to use this I Am poem, this one is a little bit simpler. Both of them I think would be great for you to work on with someone in your family. And they might just be able to help point you into some of the words, or you can just do it on your own, and I'm sure it'll turn out great. And then we'll just share these with each other, whoever wants to. There's no pressure. You don't have to share it. You can keep it for yourself. But if you'd like to, we would love to hear this on the last day. Let's talk for just 1 minute about color mixing. And this is something that you'll be able to use on the third day when you all are making your own creations, using all of the things that we've learned. I'm not sure how many of you have had a chance to mix paint colors. This will be important for you to rinse your brushes in between each one. So I am going to just talk about mixing the secondary colors, just in case you don't know about that. So we're gonna start with some red. I'm gonna just scoop out a little red onto my plate here. Wipe the side just to try to keep that paint. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse it. And you never wanna mush your paintbrush into the water. I would always joke with my students about that. Just try to be gentle with the brushes. Wipe them gently on the edge, and then you can just kind of blot it on your paper. I'm going to scoop a little bit of the blue out right here. Do the same thing, just kind of wipe that on the side. So I don't really try not to waste any paint if I can help it. And then I'm going to get the third primary color, the yellow right here. I still have a little blue on my brush, so I better be careful with that. All right, so let's go ahead and do a little color mixing. Let's try for, I have yellow on my brush right now and some blue. So why don't we try for that? We'll mix some yellow and some blue. What are we gonna get? So we're mixing those two primary colors. We're gonna get green, right? And depending how much yellow you have in there, depending how much blue you have in there, is going to depend on what shades of color you get. You can see this is much more like a teal. This is much more like a green, maybe you would see outside in the grass or in bushes or trees. So blue and green, you just can have fun practicing mixing those colors together. I'm gonna try to rinse my brush out well. And let's see if I mix blue and some yellow. What am I gonna get? Oh, I just did that one. Sorry about that. Well, let's see. That will be an even different green because I used more yellow. See, then you have more of a yellow green. All right, let's try two different colors since I went right back to the same one. How about some red and blue together? What are we gonna get for our secondary color? Right, we're gonna get purple. So you can see this is a nice rich shade of purple here. And just depending if you use more red or more blue is going to be, it's very blue kind of purple right now. Let's add a little bit more red to it. Perfect. All right, and I wanna go ahead and try. And like I said, if you need more room, you can always do this on a piece of paper, just like from the computer paper, or you could wipe the plate off if you wanted to. Let's go ahead and make our last secondary color. We're gonna mix some red and some yellow. What are we gonna get? We will get orange. Right, awesome. So now you can see you've started with your three primary colors, yellow, red, and blue. And we've been able to mix up lots of shades in between, but green, orange, and purple. And then the last thing I want to just share with you is the process of making tints and shades. So if you want to make a tint, you're going to add some white to your color. And what I was telling you before was that I like to add it to the white instead of adding white to it, because when you do it that way, you can really control how dark or light it is. It's difficult to do that when you add the white in. You have to add a lot more white. So let's start with our purple here. So I'm going to take a little white and put it on my plate. And then I'm going to just scoop up some of this purple. And what's going to happen? Now I have a nice light shade of purple, nice tint of purple. If I wanted to add a little black, remember you want to be careful with the black because a little goes a long way. It's going to darken up your color and you're going to have a nice darker shade of purple. Okay. And the same is true for each of the others. If I want to make a tint of this green, I'm going to put a little white. I'm going to scoop up some of that green I made, and I can make just a beautiful pale green here. Or if I want to make a shade, I'll add some black to it. And I know you're probably running out of room here, but it's fun to play with color mixing. Okay, here's orange, and we'll just get a little bit of white and see that nice tint of white that we made. Or we can add just a touch of black, and you can see you have you're going into brown at that point, but you have a shade of orange, so it's a darker shade. So I hope you had fun mixing colors. Let's take some of what we've done and we'll use that on our final day. The last thing that we're going to work on when your hand is dry, and I'm pulling over one that is already dry that I worked on yesterday. If you would like, you can outline it with your black permanent marker. And then I just have had a lot of fun working on henna designs. Don't know if you all have heard of henna, but they're impermanent tattoos. So there's something that you use a special ink for. And there's lots of henna designs. If you look up henna hand art, you can see they're all made with just repeating lines of diagonals, swirls, zigzags, thin lines, thick lines. These right here have some nice curved lines, and you can see they just repeat those over and over. So if you'd like to add those details to your hand that you've painted, this would be a great way to do it. And you can use your black permanent marker. You can add the fingernails and the knuckles if you'd like to do so. I can't wait to see what you guys make at the end of the week.